Hey y'all, welcome back to another DIY video. Today we are going to be showing you part 2 of the doghouse that we previously showed last week. Last week, the last step of the doghouse was putting on the shed siding, and now we are measuring to put 2x6s in the middle of the roof so that it provides extra support for the piece of plywood that we're going to place on it, and it's going to prevent the plywood from bowing in the future. We placed another 2x6 board next to the window and the door because there is a little gap in the front of the doghouse, so we went ahead and covered that up with some pallet wood. The next process was preparing the house for the roof. So we did this by cutting a 3/4 inch piece of plywood and securing it with screws. The next step we actually skipped because we thought it would be really expensive, but if you want to do it correctly, I would highly recommend looking online and looking up tar paper. We read that tar paper is to be placed before the roof shingles. We decided to opt out of this because it is a doghouse and it was really expensive. We then overlapped each roof shingle, and we did this by using all-purpose adhesive. So as you can see, we placed the adhesive on every single strip to make sure that every roof shingle stayed in place. We did use box cutters to make the cuts so that it would fit perfectly on the piece of plywood and there wouldn't be any roof shingles hanging off from the sides. The next process is creating the trim. So we actually used pallet wood, but you could also rip 1x2s in half for yours if you decided to make this. We did have to jigsaw some cutouts. For example, in the front, the roof has a little bit of a lip, so we did have to create a cutout for that so that the trim would fit flush with the shed siding. Next up is painting. So I'm the type of person where I like to go to Home Depot and make the selection there when I can see all the options. So I did end up choosing the Glidden Best Beige color for the frame and the base of the doghouse, and then we already had white at home, so I just ended up using that for the trim. We did select exterior paint for both the white and the beige color. I imagine that probably 5 years down the road we're probably going to have to repaint it, but at least exterior paint will help it stay nicer for longer. Brandon installed an air vent, and later on you'll see that he also installed a sun-powered air fan system. So the intent is that this is supposed to reduce the mugginess, especially in such a tiny space. He has been hanging out there a little bit. We're not sure if he goes inside much when we're not home, but he does like to come in and out when we are home and hanging out in the backyard. I just haven't seen him like sit in there or lay down in there completely because I think, when we're home or in the backyard, he just wants to hang out with us. So Bear is a big fan of turf, so we did decide to place a turf on the front porch for him to enjoy. Brandon used box cutters to cut out the various spots next to the 2x4s, and then we also secured the turf with roofing nails. You can also use regular nails too, either one should be fine. We just used roofing nails because we had them from securing the plywood to the roof. The last little detail that we added was a bone and name tag. So I went searching online and found this bone cutout, printed it out and cut it, placed it where I wanted to on this piece of board, and taped it down. I did trace it, and Brandon used the jigsaw to cut it. He did use the router to create round edges. This really did help the sides go really smooth. So what you're about to see is intended to be a charcoal transfer. However, I could not find my charcoal pencil. I ended up just using the printout and created an indent with the pencil. So meaning I like pressed down really hard on the paper and the wood so that it created an indent. Usually with the charcoal pencil, it leaves a residue on the wood, and so it encourages you to stay in the lines, and I didn't have that this time. So again, this is not the correct technique. I just used what I could find at home, and I will link the correct technique below so that you can see how to actually do this technique correctly. Anyways, I really hope that y'all enjoyed this doghouse video creation, part 1 and part 2. We hope that you have a great week, and we will see you next time. See ya!